The electromagnetic dampeners hummed through the cargo bay of the Perseverance, creating a field that should have rendered every piece of human technology inert. Commander Elsa Reeves stood at the center of the cavernous space, her hands visible at her sides, while 7-foot-tall Krath warriors formed a semicircle around her. Their exoskeletons clicked and whirred with each movement, biomechanical marvels that had conquered 43 star systems before humanity had even achieved fusion power. The Krath commander, whose designation translated roughly to Executor VTA Track, stepped forward. Its 4 eyes, 2 on stalks, 2 fixed in its chitinous skull, examined her with predatory interest. Through the translation matrix embedded in its throat, it spoke in perfect standard English. "You are the human called Elsa Reeves. Your vessel's AI has been neutralized. Your crew is unconscious in their quarters. You are alone." The translator gave its words a mechanical precision that made them sound like a death sentence being read. "I order you to surrender your weapons. Comply, or you will be terminated." Elsa raised her hands slowly, palms forward. A smile played at the corners of her mouth. "That was your first mistake." VTA Track's mandibles clicked in what the Krath database would later identify as confusion. "You claim that obeying my command is a mistake. Your species' grasp of logic is as primitive as your technology." "No," Elsa said, her voice calm despite the racing of her heart. "Your mistake was assuming I needed weapons." The Krath commander gestured with one of its 4 arms. "Our scans detected no biological modifications. You carry no implants, no neural augmentations. You are unenhanced human baseline. You are nothing." Elsa's hands remained raised. Beneath her sleeves, invisible to Krath sensors designed to detect conventional technology, the dermal biosynthetic networks began to activate. They weren't mechanical. They were grown, cultivated from her own cells, integrated with engineered proteins that mimicked her body's natural chemistry. The dampeners couldn't touch them because, to every scan, they were simply her. "You know what humanity's real advantage is?" Elsa asked, taking a slow breath as the networks came online. "We're survivors. We've been evolving on a death world for millions of years. And when we finally got to the stars, we didn't just bring our technology, we brought our biology." David's voice crackled in her inner ear, the communication carried by acoustic vibrations through her skeleton rather than radio waves. The Krath dampeners hadn't accounted for old-fashioned physics. "Systems integrating. You've got 90 seconds before the feedback loop causes permanent damage, Elsa. Make it count." David Chen wasn't on the ship. He was 3 light minutes away on the research station they'd been protecting. But he designed every molecule of the enhancement coursing through Elsa's body. The biotech prodigy had spent 5 years developing what he called evolutionary technology, systems that didn't replace human biology but amplified it. VTA Track stepped closer, its massive form casting a shadow over her. "You are stalling. This is futile. Disarm or—" Elsa's hand snapped down. The biosynthetic networks flooded her muscles with compounds that made adrenaline look like a sedative. Her nervous system accelerated to process information at rates that would make quantum computers envious. Time seemed to slow as her enhanced perception stretched each second into subjective minutes. She moved. To the Krath, she simply vanished. One moment she stood before them, hands raised in surrender. The next, she was behind their commander, her palm pressed against the joint where its exoskeleton was thinnest. The networks in her skin released a precisely calculated electromagnetic pulse, not technological but biological, generated by specialized cells that David had painstakingly engineered. The pulse didn't just short out VTA Track's exoskeleton. It traveled through the networked systems, connecting all Krath warriors to their commander, a chain reaction that David had predicted based on their physiology. 7 massive bodies collapsed simultaneously, their biomechanical enhancements temporarily paralyzed. Elsa stood among the fallen aliens, her hands already trembling from the strain. David status. Reading full neural feedback, shutting down the networks now. That was insane, Elsa. Beautiful, but insane. She staggered to the nearest console, fingers flying across the interface to reactivate the ship systems. The dampeners died, and the Perseverance hummed back to life. Around the cargo bay, her crew began to stir as the craft's neural suppressors failed. VTA Track's eyes flickered back to consciousness. It tried to move and failed, its exoskeleton still rebooting. Impossible, it rasped. Our intelligence indicated no such capability. Elsa knelt beside the fallen commander. That's humanity's second advantage. We're really good at keeping secrets. She tapped her temple. Everything you're looking for, it's not in computers or weapons or ships. David grew it in a lab, cell by cell. We became the weapon. The biosynthetic networks were already breaking down, metabolized by her body as David had designed. In another hour, no trace would remain. Nothing to reverse engineer, nothing to study. Just a human woman with exceptional reflexes and a story that would sound like propaganda. My fleet will come, VTA Track warned. Let them, Elsa said, standing. Her hands had stopped shaking. The pain would come later. She knew David had warned her about the cellular damage. But they had time now. Time to evacuate the station, time to warn Earth, time to prepare. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that humans don't need plasma cannons or antimatter bombs. Tell them we brought something far more dangerous to the stars. What is that? Elsa smiled. 4 billion years of evolution, and the audacity to think we can improve on it. She walked toward the bridge, leaving the craft commander among its paralyzed warriors, as the Perseverance fired its engines and burned toward home. Behind her, David's voice whispered through her bones, "We did it." "No," Elsa corrected, watching the stars streak past. "We survived, that's what we do."